Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about Donald Trump's plans to, quote, demolish the deep state in the event he is elected in 2024. So we learned today that there are already all kinds of meetings and white papers and plans afoot for a remake of the federal government, basically, or you could even call it a great undoing project, because really most of what's going on is a scaling back, reversal, you could say, of the New Deal administrative state that Franklin Roosevelt put into play in order to get us into the modern economy and out of the depths of depression. So Trump is right now extolling this and wants to be able to say he's got a mandate to do it. And what is it? Several big planks here, but there are two especially large ones. The first is to greatly weaken the civil service protections of everybody in the executive branch. He wants to make it easy to fire them, easy to ferret out people who are disloyal to him. I was in the executive branch. It's not easy, and it's designed not to be easy to just sack people. He wants to really rewrite the different kinds of schedules and regulations to make the whole executive branch under his thumb much more easily than it is now. That is by far the lesser part of what he wants to do. The most important part, you've maybe heard by now different mentions of the so-called unitary executive. So I'm going to give you just a little law here, but nothing I think you have to hold your breath for. We have in the Constitution three branches, right? The executive, the judicial, and the legislative. And since the New Deal, there have been agencies under the control of the president and so-called independent agencies that are under attenuated, lesser control of the president, so that the president can't just fire willy-nilly the head of the FTC or the FCC. They are so-called independent agencies. And the way they've come into existence is that Congress created them, and they exercise delegated legislative power. So they make legislative choices. They really do have a lot to say about important parts of the law and society, but Congress didn't want to give them over to the executive in a way that the executive could just basically trump legislative choices and really control them. So they set up these so-called independent agencies, and their independence consists in it being not so easy to get rid of them and to change their course. So if the president wants to fire the White House counsel, the attorney general, he or she picks up the phone and says, "You're fired." It is not so simple for the heads of independent agencies, and that is something that just sticks in the craw of a lot of conservatives who believe that the administrative state first is totally peopled by big libs who, want to enact woke, even now, policies, and two, are not subject to control. Because if you stop and think about it, the executive controls executive branch employees. The legislature controls legislative employees, and the judiciary, controls, say, judicial clerks and the like. But these executive, so-called independent agencies are a little bit like a headless fourth branch. Now, people who defend them have said, look, it's really just been vital for getting the work of government done. Plus, Congress doesn't want to just turn these over to executive control. But there are certain purists in the executive branch who, A, hate the civil service, that see it as liberal and woke, etc., and B, think in constitutional terms, this doesn't fit anywhere. It is a very, very ambitious plan that people in the, broader Trump orbit are now busy cooking up in their, little kitchen with all kinds of papers and the like. So we already knew, for example, that if Trump became president, he would eviscerate, just demolish the walls that have existed since Watergate between the Department of Justice and the White House, which are in existence now. We see that Merrick Garland, the White House will not reach out, and nor will the DOJ, except in very circumscribed situations. Trump wants to just do away with all that and have all the power. And so likewise here, this would be a way of doing it writ very large. And it's alarming just to hear about, but it's the kind of thing that if he wins, he'll be able to claim, I have a mandate to do this. I've put all these plans out, when of course what's really happened is nobody's paid attention because it's sort of such a pointy-headed topic. But okay, the bottom line is Trump, with all these, Trump, of course, is completely idea-free, and he probably doesn't even know what the unitary executive is. But there's all these people he's now working with, and are, the sort of government in exile, who are drawing up papers and plans to really weaken the executive branch, but B, really, really, really weaken the administrative state and the power exercised in particular by so-called independent agencies. So that will be a potentially huge development in the event that Donald Trump wins the presidential election in 2024. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.